Hey everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to make bathroom supplies for your stuffed animals. I might be doing a little stuffed animal night routine video soon, so I figured it was a good time to make some things they might need, and a few of you have been requesting this. Now let's get started! I'm going to start with a toothbrush. I drew this little pattern for the shape I want my toothbrush to be, and I'll link it in the description box if you want to use it. But I ended up making it just a little longer to look more proportional to the toothpaste. I'm first tracing it on some thin cardboard from a cereal box and cutting it out. I'm cutting out 2 more so the toothbrush can be thicker and sturdier. Now I can glue the pieces together using a glue stick. Next I'm going to shape it a little more based on this real toothbrush I have, so I'm just curving the middle part up a little and really just trying to copy the shape of the actual toothbrush. Next, I'm going to add the little grip that a lot of toothbrushes have using hot glue. This didn't turn out exactly how I planned because the hot glue is really hard to get smooth on top. So after piling it on, it was kind of bumpy, but luckily it's not too noticeable. If I were to make this again though, I'd probably just paint on a little oval instead or cut out a piece of craft foam. After that, I'm painting the toothbrush with some white paint. I needed a few coats of this. And then I painted the grip blue like that toothbrush I showed earlier. Next, I'm making the bristles by cutting really short pieces of blue and white yarn. I probably cut them about ½ centimeter long. You can do all one color, but I think using at least 2 colors makes it look more realistic. After cutting around 20 pieces, I really did not count though, I'm gluing them onto the toothbrush with a thick layer of liquid glue, and I'm using tweezers to place each one individually in the shape of an oval. I used this same technique to make a little carpet a while ago, and I even made a video on Instagram for it. For the middle, I'm switching to white yarn, and then I'm doing the rest blue. Now I can set it aside to dry. I don't know what happened with the colors for this clip, so sorry about that, but I added one finishing touch to this because I thought I could use more color, so I'm using a green marker to color on the sides and back in a shape similar to the actual toothbrush. I have to warn you, I don't know why I used a marker to do this. I guess I didn't want to get my paint out, but coloring on kind of plasticky paint like this with a washable marker will wipe off really easily. So after this, I coated it in Mod Podge to lock the color in, and the marker actually mixed in and gave it like a clear green look, which ended up looking good, but you could also just use paint. And after that, this toothbrush is done, and now we need some toothpaste to go with it. Luckily, these little travel-sized toothpastes are the perfect size for stuffed animals, so I didn't have to make a not-so-realistic looking version on my own. One more thing I wanted to mention was while filming the intro, I realized it would be weird to just have the toothbrush laying on the counter, so I found this cap to some bathroom product. I have no idea where it's from, but I'm using this as a little holder for the toothbrush. The next thing I'm going to make is a mini loofah, so the main thing I need is some tulle, or you could use the netting from an actual loofah if it's starting to fall apart. Right here I have a 12 by 65 inch rectangle of pink tulle. Don't worry if you don't have a piece this long though, you can use a bunch of separate pieces. The first thing I need to do is kind of roll this up so it's about half as wide. Then I'm gathering it together and wrapping one end around my hand once, and with the rest I'm folding it in kind of a zigzag and using my hand to hold it all together. This goes pretty fast, and I could have probably added another piece to this. You wouldn't even have to connect it, you could just start folding it in, but I stopped here and grabbed some yarn to tie around the center. I tried to make this as tight as possible and left the ends pretty long. After making a double knot, I cut off the yarn and tied the ends together to make kind of a handle. I also trimmed the ends of the tulle that were sticking way out. Now I know it doesn't really look like a loofah right now, so next I'm taking each of these loops sticking out and pulling each one apart so they puff out and are shaped more like a ball. And after that, your mini loofah is finished! I'm actually really proud of myself for this one. I spent a long time trying to figure out how to make this because this is not the way actual loofahs are made, but they do end up looking pretty similar. Next, sticking to the shower theme, I'm making a shower cap. I'm making mine out of this big plastic bag I got from packaging, and I already cut it into a big square. You can make this out of any other kind of plastic bag or even an old shower cap. If you saw my day in the life of a stuffed animal model video, Chelsea was wearing a shower cap made from an old one that was all stretched out, so this is a great way to reuse old ones. First, I'm folding the plastic in half about 4 times so it forms a triangle shape, and now I'm grabbing my stuffed animal to measure her head, but don't measure the way I am now. I'd recommend measuring around your stuffed animal's entire head, then dividing that number by pi, and adding about ½ inch to 1 inch to that final number to determine the radius of the circle. For a Build-A-Bear, that number is about 5.5 inches. I'm first making a little cut to mark the measurement, but then I can cut in a slight curve to the other side. I feel like I got a little lucky that the circle turned out this good cutting it this way, but you might want to measure a little more closely. Now that I have my circle of plastic, I need to hem the entire outer edge, so I'm folding that over and pinning it in place, but you might want to fold this over a little bit more than I did though, because we'll eventually need to fit a safety pin through here. I'm actually not going to pin around this entire thing, I'm just going to fold it over as I sew to save some time. But I need to make sure to leave a little opening at the bottom. After using a straight stitch to sew that, it'll look like this. You can see the little opening at the bottom. And since we had to sew around a circle, don't worry if there's little folds in the plastic like this. These folds are just unavoidable when folding over the edge of the circle. Now I'm grabbing a safety pin and pinning it to a piece of elastic, which I cut to around 15 inches. And that's of course the measurement around my stuffed animal's head. Then I can insert it through the opening and start moving it through the edge of the circle. The plastic will get all scrunched up like this. For some reason with thicker plastic like this, it wasn't very easy to adjust the gathered material to spread around the entire thing, so one side of my shower cap was a little more stretched out than the other side. You'll also want to make sure you're keeping track of the other end of the elastic so it doesn't get pulled inside. Once I'm to the other side, I'm using my sewing machine to sew the ends of the elastic together. After that, I can just close up that opening around the edge. And once that's done, the shower cap is finished. I'm just turning it inside out so the hemmed edge is facing the inside, but it doesn't really matter because it's clear. Now it's ready to wear, and I guess protect my stuffed animal's ears from getting wet. I'm just kidding, I'm not putting my stuffed animal in the shower, it's mainly just for looks. Okay, so the final thing I'm going to make is a bar of soap, and I'm going to be making it out of clay. You could honestly just cut a plain bar of soap into pieces to make a mini one, and I guess if you're really fancy and good at soap making, you could just make a mini bar of soap. That really works. But since I had some clay on hand, I just decided to shape it out of that. I'm first rolling the clay into a ball, then pressing it into kind of a rectangle shape with still very rounded corners. Then on one side, I pressed my thumb into it to make the bottom look kind of curved in. Then I'm setting it on a piece of plastic so I can make the logo. I decided to make it Dove brand soap, but I'll be honest, I did not even pull up a picture of Dove soap to model this. I just carved the word Dove into it and added a border. I don't even think Dove soap is shaped like this. I probably should have made it dial or something. But I used a popsicle stick to make the border and this kind of pointy clay tool to carve the letters. Then I set it aside to dry, but unfortunately I got a late start to filming this part, so the clay couldn't completely dry and turn white, so you'll just have to trust me that this will look a lot more like Dove soap after a few more days. Since the soap wasn't looking its best yet, I decided to wrap it up like a single bar of soap you might buy at a specialty soap store, so I just grabbed some white tissue paper and rolled it up, then folded over the sides. I probably could have cut the tissue paper a little wider though. But next I'm taking a thin strip of scrapbook paper and wrapping that around the middle, and that was also too short, but I just connected the ends with tape and at least you don't see that part from the top. Now the one thing this is missing is like a little logo or sticker in the middle, so I grabbed this fall sticker book I got on sale at Michael's, and I'm just adding a sunflower to the middle. And with that, I was finally happy with the way this soap looked. One more thing I wanted to mention is for a stuffed animal sized towel, I like to just use a hand towel. This is actually a hand towel for the bathroom, so it's perfect. But it's just the right size to wrap around a medium stuffed animal. You might just need to fold the top in a little bit. And that is all for this bathroom supplies video. I really hope you enjoyed it and try some of these out. You can always tag or DM me on Instagram if you want me to see what you make. Please give this video a like, comment any video requests, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time. Bye!